Welcome back to Eye on South Asia. Prakash, I think this case of Dharun Ravi, which we have been covering for almost now 1 year plus, almost 1 year I should say, is really taking monumental dimensions because he is to be, the sentence has to be announced I think in the May 20th or 21st, and Indian community is very outraged, and now it seems to have caught fire with the youngsters, the college graduates. And it's not about the 80,000 graduates, college graduates that are here from India. It's about any college graduate because Dharun Ravi is like any other American kid who is just born, brought up in the US. In his case, he's brought up here and he was very young when he came to this country. The youngsters are taking a very strong exception to it, and they think the system is playing a social and a political agenda, because right now one of the two major points of focus are the gay rights and the bullying issue, and this is a perfect case that fits into that category, and they are making this kid, 18-year-old kid, a victim of that, and not a single person. I mean, it's just unbelievable. There's not like a tie or a 80-20 or a 90-10, it's like almost 100-0. People agree that he has committed a mischief, but he has a zero record against gay rights, as we've been talking, gays. In fact, he has been clearly cleared out of that charge. He has no bad record. He is not a criminal. He's just a mischievous 18-year-old guy. And think about it. I mean, he was a roommate with Tyler Comanche only for I think 1 month, and then he sees a little older person coming to his room and sees something funny happening. Obviously, he's intrigued and he thinks of doing a mischief, which is what he ended up doing here.
But then he clarified that his intention was not to spy on the roommate, but to see whether the stranger is taking some of his properties. Because Ravi had some expensive equipment in the room, which the room belongs to Ravi. It was shared by Ravi. Ravi was sent out by Clementi for whatever the reason, and when he went out, he went to his friend's room and he turned on the webcam to make sure that the stranger doesn't take away his property. So there he was saying that my intention is not to spy on him. Then unfortunately he happened to see certain scenes in the room through the webcam. And according to Ravi, the statement he gave to Star Ledger, that he switched off the camera and no of this video recording was posted anywhere in the YouTube or social media network, except that he tweeted twice about the incident. And again, we have to see the background. Just because of this, Clementi is not going to commit suicide, because he went and photographed of the Washington Bridge a couple of months ago, and also been a family situation where he is driven. So this could be the last straw in the camel's back. But
that's what most people believe, but there is a big petition drive. In fact, like we discussed last week also, it's taking a greater dimensions, and they are even looking at President Obama to intervene before a judgment is passed, whether he'll be given 10 years or whether he'll be deported. I mean, he can be deported. That is something
He's only a green card holder.
In fact, many of the people who are otherwise pro-immigration are saying, okay, even if he's deported, his life will be saved and he will not be ruined because he's a promising kid otherwise. I think it's a very challenging situation, and everybody feels that the real drama will start soon when the date comes closer to the sentencing next month. Let's see what comes out of it, but nobody so far has come forward that we know of, or it seems majority of the people believe that he does not deserve 10 years or even 5 years of imprisonment.
But there's no open support from any of the Indian leaders. Indian American community has been a only muted voice, and there's so much of political cloud, there's so much of financial cloud, there's so much of cloud in the Congress, in the Capitol Hill, but none of them could come to rescue of this kid. That is what is surprising to me.
I think what happened is nobody imagined this will take such dimensions. And it was only last 2 weeks ago that the judgment was given. So people are suddenly caught by surprise. Nobody thought that this will be a serious matter and he'll be really, really crucified here. And now suddenly they have woken up I think there will be an activity like this is just the beginning, and next 30 days is going to be very, very active.
This Friday, the Overseas Friends of BJP is convening a meeting in New Jersey,
Yeah.
where they're going to have a town hall meeting to condemn and to rally support. I think the first time I'm hearing any organization garnering support to the kid is going to happen this Friday.
But I think hopefully that will trigger, this petition drive will trigger some opportunities for him. Hopefully that should be good for him. Here is a situation with this young guy, 18-year-old, but on the other hand, there is the report that the South Asian Americans living together, which is SAALT, the organization which monitors the attitude towards the South Asians, still feel that even after 10 years of 9/11, there is a profiling, and somehow from the national and the local law enforcement agencies. And they feel that this is not good. We need to continue to point at it, because it's going to be hurting our next generation. Generally, they feel that there is our collective psyche has been shaped by the experiences of living in post 9/11 America, and future generations of South Asians, Muslims, Sikhs and Arab Americans will be forced to wrangle with questions of identity, history, shame and our place in America. I don't think it is that bad. I mean, I've lived here for 25 years. You have been here for almost 15 years. So between you and me, we have 40 years in the US. I don't think there is such naked profiling or victimization by law enforcement agencies. There is just generally an attitude. You will see a law enforcement officer, generally they have that ego, I am the powerful man and I want to keep everything under control. But they're not pointing at you. You're not suddenly walking on a street and suddenly they pick you up and they put you into jail.
But remember what happened to the Sikh community. They were targeted specifically because of the turban. Though they have nothing to do with terrorism, most of the Sikhs were attacked with.
But that was for a brief period when 9/11 happened, because they were confused with the identity of the person. But I'm talking about what this organization SAALT, especially Priya Murthy, she's a policy director, feels that post 9/11 for last 10 years, this has been going on and on and on. And I don't think, I mean, for a certain period there was, of course, turban issue is a totally different issue, but it's difficult to digest that we are victims or of a profiling by law enforcement agencies, even national and local level. And I agree with her that we have a responsibility and we have an opportunity to create a different future for our generation in America, and we must behave very responsibly as the ambassador from our own communities. But that doesn't mean that there is a profiling. That's my view. Moving on to the next story we have, very interesting, about the US elections which are coming up in November, and the IT companies, because it seems, there is a sort of election year war against the IT companies from India. And as somebody said, that Infosys, which is one of the leading organizations from India, and they have offices in America, they have lots of people, almost 15,000 employees in the United States, but it is called Infosys in USA. And now Padmanabhan Rao, who is the head of the company's US operations, says they are looking for an image makeover. They want to remove the myth that the Indian IT companies are in US to just make money and take the jobs away, like we were talking about earlier. He said the goal for us is to change it from Infosys in USA to Infosys USA. I think it's very well said. They need to make it feel that the company belongs here, the company is parked here, company is positioned here, and through, of course, the exchange, you have professionals coming from India who are working here, but we have 15,000 people, and they will be looking for rather 1,200 people coming from India, and Infosys, out of overall worldwide, they have about 145,000 people. So this is serious numbers that we're talking about, and they cannot be considered as okay, we are here to take the jobs back to India. In fact, India has 100 billion IT industry, and the BPO processes employs 107,000 people overall in the United States. They are not just Infosys. And Tata Consultancy has just opened offices in a couple of years ago in Cincinnati, Ohio, where the governor himself was there to inaugurate the event. And he said the Indian companies are very engaged, and he was very appreciative. Even the local political support was there when Huntley said the TCS is India's #1 software services and exports. And in fact, now they have opened a center in Santa Clara, California. So I think Indian companies are also making a serious effort to build an image that they are not here to take jobs from here to India. Now talking about the Hindu American Foundation, which seems to be the flagship organization to protect the rights of Hindus, they feel that some of the places that Hindus are extremely victimized, especially Malaysia and Pakistan, but the situation has improved in Fiji and Trinidad and Tobago, and they feel that they need to be protecting the rights of Hindus all over the world, especially in the countries where there is a violation, including Bangladesh, Bhutan, Fiji, Jammu and Kashmir, which is a part of India's state, as India's state, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Trinidad and Tobago. And they feel that there are violent attacks, restrictions, and again, religious freedom is curbed. You think that is the case?
See, actually, in India, it's a kind of pluralistic society, and all people are treated equal.
Correct.
But it's not so in many other countries.
Yes, look, Malaysia and Pakistan are essentially Muslim countries. So, of course, they would want to be very protective. They don't want to see any minority, especially Hindus, prosper. They are become a major power. But that doesn't mean they are out there to hurt them.
For example, if we talk about Nepal, that was the world's only Hindu country. Now, after the communists took over, they removed it, made it as a socialist country. So that's also gone. So that's a political move. Now, what is happening is all over the world, attacks on Hindus have been increasing because they are seen as a very docile creature. They're not oppressive. They're not aggressive. They don't want to do anything which would affect the image of the religion. So that is one of the reasons why they have been targeting it, because they are in big numbers, especially in Malaysia. Even in Sri Lanka, it's happening because the country is controlled by Buddhist monks, and Buddhists would never allow Hinduism to come up. So this report of HAF, Indo-American Foundation, by Dr. Mir Mahani in California, he is a practicing physician but is devoting all the time and attention only towards the promotion of this cause. Every year he conducts the survey, and also has a kind of meeting in Capitol Hill, like a political action committee.
I guess, so there is some kind of meat in this kind of news. I hope countries are very tolerant, and every society tolerates a minority also. But we have a very big announcement this week. Upendras Chivukula is looking to run for
we broke
congressman.
The news in Indian Express.
It's very interesting. He was actually here in the studio for another show with us, The Leading Force, which will be broadcasting on this channel as well. And Upendra has declared that he will be going in for the congressman position in November.
Yes.
See, this man is such a gentle person. He came to America just to make some money. And even then, he doesn't make really money. He's in a public servant. But when he was asked that he's going to be contesting against David Larson, who is a local businessman, he calls him as a good man. And he says, this is not about Leonard Lance, but it's about me, whether I can do a better job. He really feels that if he is in Washington, D.C., he can make a difference, because he is probably the only South Asian congressman to be, if he is in Washington, D.C., and the policy makers will gain so much with his presence, so much with his insight to the community. And I'm not talking purely India, I'm talking of South Asia, I'm talking about the minority communities, including Filipinos, including the blacks, because they all love him.
If elected, he'll be the third Indian to go to the Congress after Dilip Singh Saud and Bobby Jindal, #2, and third will be Upendra. Interestingly, the Upendra district, which is essentially a Republican district, it is undergoing a complete metamorphosis. Now what happened, new towns are being added, and according to Upendra's campaign, the new towns which are being added are completely democratic, So the whole structure is the demography of the constituency changing in favor of Upendra, and Upendra doesn't need endorsement. He's been automatically selected by the Democratic Party, no primary. But the Republican is going to have primary, so the opponent may be weak, which will enable Upendra to win hands down as a congressman, first congressman to get Indian elected from New Jersey.
This is something very interesting, and we've been watching this to happen. Finally, it seems to be here this November, this winter. So that is very interesting development that Upendra Chivkula is coming into the race for the congressman. Long term, we have been waiting and watching it. We'll go to the next segment where we have a guest with us, Shailaja Gupta. She heads Red Chillies. You probably heard the name, yes. It is the company owned by mega star, superstar Shah Rukh Khan in India, and he is now expanded into US to start his operation, look at his business opportunities. And Shailaja Gupta is with us in the next segment where Prakash will talk to her about the plans for Red Chillies in USA.